All right, Shalom.
Right. Oh,
All right,
Shalom.
first and foremost, we have to give all the praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh,
Yahweh, Ba'ashem,
Ba'Hashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai, Ba'Hashem,
Ba'ashem,
Ruka Kadash.
Rukakadash.
All right, double honors and respect to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well and taught us His truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect in the 1/3, and you Israelite foreigners, you speckled birds scattered across the four corners of the earth, that may be tuning in. I like to say shalom to you all. All right, your brother Salah.
For the Barak.
All right, we have brother Yawasop here. All right, and all right, and all right. In today's lesson, man, we got testimony, from this guy, from this be an Edomite man, who has the prototype of the of the Karagma, the prototype of the Neuralink, right? But it's a BCI, a brain C hip implant, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and before you play the clip, we we can't. I don't know for sure. We don't know for sure if the guy's like, um, he says in the clip he is like schizophrenic or something along the lines of that. But if you look closely, he has an actual bump in his head. So the guy could have actually gotten a brain implant. And he claims that they basically are able to control his thoughts and his hearing and his manipulate his thoughts with the implant. You know, and I think this guy is partially he's bugging out, but I do believe he actually got an implant because you can see it in the actual clip. So I don't know if you want to play the clip.
yeah. So we're gonna play the clip. Well, I don't know if we're gonna play the clip in its entirety. I mean, it is only like what it's like 8 minutes. So we could probably play in its entirety. But before we do that, we're gonna start off with an opening precept, and then the copyright disclaimer. All right, this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 20, starting at verse 27. For evil shall be put out, deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. All right, as the days of Esau's Tim comes to an end, man. And if you brothers that have been staying locked into your truth, you look at your Instagram, your TikTok, you see what do you see people posting, man. You see people posting nonstop about the truth, man. That's the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. People have been watching Great Millstone. They took heed, man. And now truth's starting to pop up everywhere, man. That's why Elder Apostle Tahar, tells us, to post videos every day, man. So this truth gets pushed forward, man. People see our videos. That's what's happening, man. Esau's
Yeah.
getting exposed on a mass scale.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we're gonna get the copyright disclaimer. All right, you see the copyright disclaimer right here. And the reason why I say this is because the previous video we read the copyright statement, right here, and it still got copyright, man. So I don't know what the fuck Esau's doing, but we're gonna read it regardless. Disclaimer: copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. We're not making any money off of this, and we're not reading you any medical information. So with that, we're gonna play the first video. I'm gonna stream so you brothers can see. All right, so you brothers can see the first video. All right, here it is.
Rocky Bundison.
Rocky, what are you doing over here today on the bus?
I'm coming back from the library. I had to go and look up some police reports and some reports from Integral Care's crisis line. I'm going through a hardcore situation where I'm being heavily abused and stalked by some predators that have sexually assaulted and molested me over the years.
Holy cow. That's a whole lot in 20 seconds, man. Do you mind unpacking that?
Yeah, man. It started back when I was a teenager, man. I got in a major accident where I got a BCI, a brain computer interface, put in my head, and it's a system that goes to my hearing, my eyes, and my vision. And it got put in because of major head trauma. And over the years, everybody's found out about it except for me, and they've heavily manipulated and used the system against me by logging into it and abusing me. And I've been heavily brainwashed and won several different lawsuits over the years, which have been since stolen and me brainwashed out of. And I'm in the process of starting another one as we speak. I'm currently involved with the Integral Care ACT team, not the ACT team, but the Integral Care crisis team. And we're going to get together all my police reports, all my logs, all my conversations with the ACT team crisis line, and I'm going to file another lawsuit on my abuse. It's a strange thing, the way I get abused. I get auditorily harassed through sound projection, and they beam that right into your head. And when they're doing it, it's so derogatory and so mean and so defamating in its nature. Also so abusive because they're constantly reiterating how they rape me, how they abuse me, kidnap me over the years, and they're not going to get caught with the way they're doing it. It's a scary thing, and I'm getting completely alienated, blackballed, and pulled out of life with people because people won't acknowledge or talk to me about it. And it's a scary situation, man. Very scary situation for me, man. And it weighs on me really bad about how many people have used me over the years and how bad this situation's truly gotten.
So let me start here. So there was something implemented in your head.
Yeah, I have a BCI. It's a brain-computer interface. Elon Musk put one out called Neuralink.
Okay, so that's the same technology.
Same technology, but much older version of it.
So there's a Neuralink in your head.
It's not Neuralink. It's a different type. It's a Halo. It's a Halo one, but.
Do you think I could say that in the title, just for people to like?
Well, you can't say Neuralink. You have to say a BCI, brain computer.
A BCI, a brain computer
interface.
Interface,
Yeah.
Implement into your head.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say that.
Yeah.
So that was implemented to your head before or after you were molested?
Before it happened back when I was a child, when I was a teenager. It happened. I had major head trauma when I was a child, and basically they put it in there to make me see, hear, understand, and think. But I never knew about it. They did it without my knowledge. I found out about years later when I went to court, and they took it to court and got my MRIs, and my MRIs showed the actual system in my head, and that's why I started my court case with my abuse and my brainwashings, because it proved that the system was in my head, and I had to prove that they were brainwashing me into my emotions, my actions, my thoughts, my verbiage. They can change all that and control me like a robot. And it's scary because I won a $5 million lawsuit, and when I did, they brainwashed me, put me back in a situation where I was previously, and everybody acted like they didn't know me because they stole my money from my lawsuit. And when they stole my money from the lawsuit, everybody just acts like they don't know me, and I can't remember nothing because they just erased my memory with the BCI. And in months and months later, they'll start talking about it auditorily through sound projection and harassing me with the facts of them doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a scary situation. It's a scary situation for me.
And that's where it was implemented at the
Yeah,
top of your head?
that's a BCI, but it's a Halo system. It goes all the way around my head, and I got internal hearing aids and also lensing on my eyes through LASIK surgery that they can literally pay like IMAX theater videos through my eyes at night. They brainwash me every night with videos, scary sexual assault stuff, molestation. They abuse me every night so badly I end up wetting the bed, and it's crazy when a predator does that,
So, a traumatic event happened to you when you were little.
Well, it started when I was a teenager, the molestations did and the rapes.
Well, I'm talking about like an accident.
Oh yeah, the accident happened, when I was littler, yeah.
But so you have people that had touched you when you were little?
Well, they tried to have sex. They were trying to have sex with me when I was a teenager, but then ended up years and years later, in my 30s and 40s, actually raping and molesting on me. And I've taken it to court, and every time I get my lawsuit, they give me the money, and then they end up stealing my money because the next one is the prosecution, where they prosecute the offenders, and they always end up stealing my money and then re-brainwashing me, and I don't know stuff about it until months and months later, and then I start calling the police, start re-getting my information, start taking it back to court, and that's where I'm at again in my life for like the 8th time.
Wow. I've definitely never encountered a situation like this.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm curious to know how could we help you in your current circumstance?
Just spread the word about how it's wrong not to acknowledge what I'm going through and completely alienating me, not talking to me about what's happening around me or to me because I can't see because they can change my vision, stalk me up close and right next to me and not even see it. I think it's the most chicken way to to ever do somebody is to rape them, abuse them, and then stalk them from behind my own eyes. I can't even see them when they're right there abusing me, man. And there's no telling what they've done to me or my clothes. They've tattooed my body everywhere. I can't see it. I can't see it.
You can't see these tattoos.
Well, I see these 2 tattoos, but I don't see any other tattoos like on my body anywhere. I don't see any of it. You know what I mean? I don't see anything. So it's a really scary situation.
And you're sure that it's not from a mental illness? You're seeing all this?
I have a mental illness. It's called schizoaffective. But I've also taken it to court and proven it in court several different times that I actually have the system. So I ain't worried about that. It's just a matter of getting the facts together and not being abused to the point where I can't get it back into the court.
Man, do you have an email someone could reach you to help your circumstance?
Yeah, it's my first and last name, Rocky, R-O-C-K-Y, Bundesen, B-U-N-D-E-S-E-N 5 @gmail.com. Note that my phone is tapped and they do have control of my devices. I've proven that in court before. They're so controlling that they're constantly doing stuff like that so people won't reach out for me or try to give me help because they're that controlling so they don't get caught.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it's heavy.
And do you have anybody important in your life right now that is helping you?
I've been completely alienated from everybody, man. My sister faked my mother's death 3 times. They've even gone as far as to have me go to the mortuary and burn her ashes when it wasn't her. And after the 3rd time of doing that, I took it to court and I got a major lawsuit for that, just from the trauma alone of suffering from the thought of my mother passing when she didn't. My sister is a cruel person. My brother's a cruel person. They molested me. Lots of different people have molested me and raped me over the years, and I'm in the process of prosecuting them. But as I state, every time I go to the courtroom, they give me my lawsuit. The judge always awards me my money first. And I told him the last time I don't want that money. I want people to be prosecuted for my abuse before I take it, because they always end up stealing the money, brainwashing me for that next court date where I get to prosecute. And then, as I state, they'll put me somewhere where people have used me before, or I've sued before, or the lawsuit before, and they act like they don't know me. I don't remember anything. I live at that present state and time, and back then in my head. It's just crazy, man. It's just an intense situation.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And you have a BCI and it's
Yeah.
stuck in your head.
Well, it was surgery that did it. Brain computer interface. Yep. Well, man, I got to get going. I got to get back to my.
Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. If you could spread a message with the world, what would it be?
Just don't hide it from me. Don't lie about it and talk to me about it, because it's really bad for my mental health for people not to acknowledge what I'm going through, man. And it sends me through really bad times where I contemplate suicide at times, man. But I got a lot of respect for myself after the last time I almost died from an overdose, and you know it's rough. It's rough being out there being abused like this and nobody helping.
What's it gonna take for you to get into a better circumstance?
I'm on my way right now. I just found a sober living. That's a really nice place. The guy's willing to give me some social workers so I could talk about my trauma and my abuse. And I got, as I said, I got a caseworker coming in from medical care, and I'm going to start up another lawsuit, and she's going to help me file it.
Man, I know you gotta get going. I appreciate you tuning in, man, and God bless you. We're gonna pray for you, brother.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you. God bless.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So what you just saw there, man, is you know, and that I don't know if that person's a Jake or Edomite. He appears to be Edomite, but you never know. But like, but that's some scary stuff there. You know that he faced. Again, we take it with a grain of salt. We don't know if they actually raped him or molested him or whatever. I gotta say it like that, because of YouTube guidelines. But like.
Yeah, but one thing's for sure is the what he was talking about. It's like a foreshadowing of what's actually going down. Because Esau is going to cause all what's it called? Rich and poor, great and small. Roughly paraphrasing, they receive a mark on their right hand or forehead, and he's going to also what's it called? He's going to bug people out with that shit. He's going to start controlling people. You know what I'm saying? And don't be surprised when people are you know gonna they're gonna start being able to play shit in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoever takes that shit, they're gonna be plagued. Like plagued in the mind.
Yeah. For anyone that takes the MOTV or the Neuralink, the Neuralink or the BCI, the brain computer interface implant, that charagma in their brain. Esau, Esau will literally mind control you man. And the crazy part is you're going to be aware that he's going to mind control you, but you're not going to be able to do anything because he's going to control your motor functions, man. Which is a scary thing, man. That's what this damn devil's trying to do. He's trying to invade the third temple, but Yahweh Bashim Yal Shai, man, he's not going to allow that. Yeah, to his elect, which we pray we be a part of. So we gonna get the next precept, man. This is so so we're gonna keep bringing out Revelation 13, starting at 16 on down because that's the MOTB right there. All right, and it's gonna be very apparent on what the MOTV is because they're gonna say you can't buy or sell, man. You can't participate in society. You can't go to work. You can't go to the hospital. You can't get any insurance. You can't get any help or anything, man. Revelation 13, starting at verse 16 on down, and he calls it all Slakia, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no man may buy or sell, save that he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 so 666 Chi Psi stigma 666. Right, which is what you see on your barcodes, man. Whenever you purchase something, and that guy right there, man. He was just a guinea pig. He was just a fucking test run. For what's about to come, right? And now what they're gonna do is they're about to mass deploy this, man.
And if you look at the comments, people were saying that they've been testing this stuff for 25 years. These brain chips. So I would not be surprised if this guy's being for real. But it seems to me, and I'm taking what he said with a grain of salt. But it sounds to me that guy's mind has definitely been plagued. Um, I don't want to pull out that scripture about the plague of the heart.
Yeah, let's get that on the screen. So they'll see. Let's see, plague of the heart, which I believe is in the second, which is in the book of Sirach. All right, here it is. Here it is. Do you have it out?
Oh no, yeah, you can read it because you have the screen share.
Okay, so this is the book of Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 25, verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, meaning the mind, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, because because we know how wicked these women can get, right? But like, but the main point is, right? The plague of the mind is a heavy thing, right? You could have someone who's actually disabled, right? But they like still participate in society or still go throughout their daily lives just fine because because they're still willing, right? They still got that drive or that willpower. But someone who's like broken in the mind, like who has some sort of mental condition to the point where like it becomes debilitating, man. That's harder to deal with than than someone who's disabled. Again, it depends on the severity, but like. But like from what I've heard, but well, from what I've heard, and I have I had an uncle, that worked with that worked with the disabled, and the mentally handicapped, and he said, and he told me like it's more easier, to help out someone who's disabled than someone who's mentally disabled or has something mentally going on with them because like because someone who's handicapped have if there's nothing going on with their mind, like you can still help them out, but for someone who who's like bugged down in the mind, like you can't help that person out. You can't help that person out because because it gets to a point where like that person is not going to accept whatever help he's getting because he's just so bugged down in the mind or that person might not be motivated to do something.
Yeah, and what's it called? This type of stuff, man. It's not gonna happen when the righteous are in authority. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have this wicked ass, corrupt ass court system. That's gonna fuck you over. You're not gonna have no fucking brain chips. You're not gonna have a lot of these you know you know the because the Lord is going to see everything, but right now on this side the wicked are in authority. So so whether whether that guy was if he was speaking for real or not, because you know how people just be saying shit sometimes, so you don't know for sure. But this type of shit is not gonna actually, this is why we need Yahweh Shai, you know, because go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah, Salak, yeah. But and I was gonna say, yeah, I would not put it, I wouldn't put it past Esau if he actually did, do this vile stuff, like all the gang stalking, and the raping and all that. Yeah, because we know how vile Esau is, man. We know what it says in the book of Job.
Yeah, but we know this shit is common, black because these what do these Edomites do? Blackmail, torture. They to get into their position of power. They have to do a lot of wicked things, and then when they have that position, they're not saying a single bad thing because people have so much dirt on them. That's why they go to these parties, and what happens is they get someone might put a thing in their drink, or and I'm speaking about these celebrities mainly, right? But they'll put something in your drink, and next thing they got videos of you doing all this you know bugged out shit, right? All this wicked nonsense. That's what they use to blackmail people.
All right, and there's a precept for this. This is in the book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 2. Hide hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, right? Because we know Esau be doing all this nasty stuff, this nasty shit in the dark, right? All them wicked ass, them sex rituals, that them and all them child sacrifices, right? And let me read the whole verse because it substantiates the point. So Psalm 64, we're gonna start at verse 1. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword. And whet means to sharpen, right, and to bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And what does that mean? They're gonna lie, they're gonna slander us, man. They're gonna do everything to make us look bad, and to make them look like to paint themselves as like the angels of light or the victims, or whatever narrative they're trying to paint, right? But guess what? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, these devils are getting found out. That's why, and we're gonna play this in the next clip. That's why they're shutting down the government, right? Is because these devils are getting exposed on a mass scale. So we're really close, for them to releasing that karagma, that MOTB, right? All right, that they shoot in secret at the perfect, right? And that perfect goes into what? Blameless, right? And that's talking about his elect, man. The elect of Israel. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not? They don't think they're gonna get judged. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep, right? Right, and when you look at that verse, right, that's that actually does go into their neural link, the MOTV. That's why they want to implant that karagmanu, because they want to be like the Most High, right? As it says, which I believe it says in the book of Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken. And they want that godlike power. They want that blessing back. That they gave away from Jacob, through left hand means, which is going to be through that through that micro, that micro C up, or that Neuralink, man, or that BCI, that brain computer interface. That's what they can use, to try to read your minds and manipulate you, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, but verse 7. But Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow, and suddenly shall they be wounded. And that arrow is eventually going to be them ICBM nuclear missiles. So shall they make their own tongue fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away, man. And assuming that this man right here, let me play it back. Assuming that this man right here
Lots.
here is is an Edomite man, that falls perfectly, with Psalm 64 verse 8, man. Right, he's literally telling on himself because why? Why? Because his own people, man, are being cruel to him, man. And what does Scripture say about that? He that is cruel to himself, he that is cruel to him. He that
That's just
to whom shall he be good to, or he that is evil to himself. Oh, yeah. Book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. And yeah, that's what's happening right now. This damn devil, man, because he's being evil to himself, man. Instead of establishing, trade, being friendly to, to your neighboring countries, man. Man, what are you doing? You're isolating yourself. You're slandering other countries. You're putting embargoes, man, and that's making your own people suffer, man. They can't trade. That means they can't make money. That means they got to sell off their farms, and suffer, man. And, people can't pay off their own rent. People are in mourning, man. Just like you said, but brother Barack. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people are mourning, and that's what you see
yeah.
right now.
That's the spirit of the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Because in America, man, everybody's hating on each other now. It's going to be a time where everyone will be for himself. It's going to be a time so troublesome, wicked, right? What's the scripture say? A man shall not have pity for his neighbor, right? Basically, and it talks about the love of many waxing cold, right? People. It's only getting worse. People are bugging the fuck out. You have Esau fucking with his people. That's how bad it's becoming. And now and on top of that, right now, you know, you have ICE, coming just snatching people up in the middle of the night. This place has to go, man. The Lord has to just destroy this place.
Yeah, yeah, and we're really close to that, to those times, man. Let me read out the precepts that you brought out. Second Esdras chapter 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. And as you said, brother brought, those are the times that we're approaching, man. And because there's gonna be so much evil in this world, man. People out there, they're gonna lose their damn minds, bug out, and attack each other, man. And Matthew chapter 24 verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, man. And back to the topic, man. Because all these people are committing iniquities, man. This damn devil, he's starting to expose himself. Why? Because they're getting the short end of the stick, man. We're entering the spirit of the Egyptian against the Egyptian, man. Man, speaking of the cruel Lord, man, we know that cruel Lord Caesar Nero. Let's get that precept before we play the video. Let's see the burden of Egypt. All right, Isaiah chapter 19. All right, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Yahweh shall rise upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and that's what you see happening right now with this government shutdown. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to their charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards, right? And that's their AI technology, man. And the Egyptians will I give over to the hand of a cruel lord. A fierce king shall rule over them. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai Sabaoth, meaning his armies. Right, and undoubtedly we know that cruel lord Caesar Nero, right? So so we're gonna play the next video right here. I'll share my screen, and here. And this video, this guy who appears to be Edomite, he's gonna talk about the reasons for the government shutdown. And again, I'm gonna flash the copyright disclaimer because they keep copyrighting this video. All right, you see it right here, copyright disclaimer. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Great. Here's the video.
The individual in handcuffs right there, that's Donald Trump's top spiritual advisor. His name is Robert Morris, and he was just sentenced for sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. Now, what do you think his sentence was, knowing that he's Donald Trump's close friend and spiritual advisor? He was only sentenced to 6 months in prison for sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. When you're rich and you know Donald Trump, that's what you get. Now, Donald Trump's dark past continues to surface, not only because his spiritual advisor just pled guilty to sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl, but we're also increasingly realizing that the reason that Donald Trump is shutting down the government is also to avoid the release of the Epstein files. That's right. Adelita Grijalva, the congresswoman-elect from Arizona's 7th congressional district, is supposed to be sworn in, and she would lend her name to the discharge petition. Democrat from Arizona, she said she would sign the discharge petition put forward by Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna, Republican Congressmember Thomas Massey, to vote on the release of the Epstein files. So, what does MAGA Mike Johnson do? Because at Donald Trump's order, they want to suppress the release of the Epstein files. MAGA Mike Johnson has ordered Congress to go on a paid vacation all week, simply because they want to make Americans suffer, take away Americans' health care by continuing the government shutdown. They don't want to negotiate in good faith. They don't even want to talk to Democrats. But most significantly, they want to cover up the release of the Epstein files. And if Congress goes in session, the rules are you have to swear in Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva. But I just want you also to think about this, how disgusting it is as they prevent Congresswoman-elect Grijalva from being sworn in. They're also depriving Arizona's 7th congressional district of a federal representative right now where people actually need help. So it's yet another way that Trump and these MAGA Republicans are causing more pain to Americans by not allowing them to even have representation right now. It's more than just even her signing the discharge petition. I also want you to think about this. Matthew Van Dyke makes a really good point here. In 2008, you remember, the media flipped out like the world was ending because Obama's so-called spiritual advisor, Jeremiah Wright, criticized America in a sermon. Do y'all remember that? Obama. Okay, well now, at the end of last week, you hardly heard a word when Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, Robert Morris,
All right, so just a side note, brothers. I actually got this video from the app Red Note, the Chinese app. One of the few apps where Esau can't touch because it's owned by China. Moab. That being said, man, Esau's curse being lifted, right? Right. I also suggest you go on that app, because we know Esau, man. He's playing to buy to buy up all social media, right? In his attempts to gain control of the narrative, right? Because this man's getting exposed on a mass scale, man. People are catching on to to this motherfucker's iniquities, right? So. So with that, we we're gonna get the next scripture. All right, so this is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry away thee into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins, and that's what's happening right now, man. Man, as you see all throughout social media, man, you can't avoid it. You can't deny it, man. These these motherfuckers, man, like they're getting exposed on a mass scale. People are trying to find out that yeah, this motherfucker Esau, he is the damn devil of the planet, right? Right? He's that great fucking deceiver, and it's lucky. And another thing I like to show you to substantiate that point, right? If I can find it, yes, here it is. Here
What
it is.
happened the
Yeah,
went down?
yeah. All right. Here it is. Again, before we play it, copyright disclaimer. You see it right here. Don't copyright the video. I've showed it several times. All right, here it is.
Questions for NASA. This is a picture from Mars, you know, that place that we can get to, but we can't go back to the moon, apparently. And this is Devon Island in Canada. Look at these two rocks right here. And then look at these two rocks right here. Have a look at this rock right here, and then this rock right here. This is another picture from Mars by NASA. This is Devon Island. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I see an organization named NASA, which in Hebrew translates to deceive,
I just want to pause the video right there. This is how you know, like, these influencers, these Edomites, these other nations are watching Great Millstone, because that right there, that's literally a receipt from Great Millstone. I don't know if it's from Elder Malcolm or the other apostle Ramlab, but like, but that's like that's a receipt right there. That's something that Great Millstone will post. And why is he going back into the Paleo Hebrew, mind you? Is because we know these people are watching the truth, right? I'm thinking of another precept. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill that cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and give it light unto all that are the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works, and to glorify the Father which is in heaven, man. Call Allah Yalba Shimel Shaiba Shimukakadash for this beautiful truth, man. And because of this truth being spread out, man, we are witnessing the end, man. Man, we so close, to the MOTV getting released, and the Jacob Show just becoming, all out chaos. All out. Man, and eventually them nukes are gonna fly, and and we're gonna see the fathership real soon. So so hang tight, brothers and sisters. We almost there, man.
they use the snake tongue in their logo, and they've been caught hundreds of times using a harness, just like that. You'll watch them come back into the screen. That's a harness right there. Or pulling on harnesses like this. Look at his hand. Look at his hand right here. Watch this guy. Hand pulls on the harness. Pulls on the harness right there. That is hairspray. See, when you start seeing things like this, them using green screens, clearly that's hairspray. There's a green screen in the background here. They just forgot to edit that out. You start to put all this together and you're like, maybe they're just stealing our tax money and deceiving humanity. NASA means to deceive. The snake tongue, the serpent hall, it's all right in front of you guys. Wake up. These people are lying to you. The earth is flat. There's a firmament over our earth. We cannot leave. Space is fake. The stars are not what you think, not what you've been told. Look at this. Warner von Braun. This is the guy that invented NASA. On his tombstone, Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament show us his handiwork. Psalms 19:1. Literally on the guy's tombstone. This is how they laugh in your face. And the real truth is found within. Much love and peace to everyone.
Hey, man. Okay, someone goes off right there, but yeah, man. The main point is these wicked elites, man. They know about the truth. They know about the firmament and all that, man. And I'll throw out a little example right here. Since I'm flowing to the spirit a little bit, like I remember watching, one of the elder apostle Tahara's first videos, right? Speaking on, speaking, breaking down Genesis chapter 1, right? And I recently just learned this when he's talking about the lights in heaven, right? Like during the daytime, when it gets, we see all that light. It's not, it doesn't look like that because of the sun. It looks like that because there isn't there are actual particles, right? That's actually lighting up that side of the earth, to make it appear daytime, right? And they actually also, you could also simulate this, in a video game too, which goes to show you, man, that the people that make these video games, these movies and whatnot, they actually understand the scriptures, man. So like in a video game, you have this thing called a skybox. What a skybox does is like it. It gives you the texture, for the actual sky, right, and making it appear day or nighttime or whatever, right? And it's basically, the concept of of Revelation chapter 1, and let's get that real quick to prove the point. I mean, Salaki, not Revelation. I'm bugging out a little bit. Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. Starting at verse 3, right? And God said, and it's talking about the Allahayim, the powers, Yahushua, and the archangels, right? And the elect, and the power said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and the power saw the light, and it was good, and the powers divide the light from the darkness, and the powers called the light day, and the darkness night, and the evening and in the morning or the first day, right? And this is how you know it's not talking about the sun and the moon, right? Because if you go down a little bit further down, it talks about lights, right? Right, in verse 14, and it says here, and God, and the power said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be signs for seasons and for days, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, and give light upon the earth, and it was so. And the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also, and the powers set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the power saw that it was good. So that right there was talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars right there. So what this is talking about is the skybox, determining the day and the night, right? And we're gonna get a quick video, just to substantiate the point. Let's see here. What is a skybox? Yeah, and it was, it was a quick, it was a quick video. Actually, Slocky, let me check my history real quick. No, it was.
So this 82-year-old guy.
Slocky, it wasn't that video. It was, yes, it was this video right here. So this video right here is gonna quickly illustrate to you what a skybox is. To show the lights, to demonstrate the lights in the firmament, right? And how it differentiates itself from the sun and the moon.
Have you ever wondered how video games make their skyboxes? Here's a surprisingly simple and effective way to make one. In Blender, create a giant sphere.
Oh yeah, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Assign a new texture to it. Invert the normals. And then in texture paint mode, if you zoom inside the sphere, you can literally paint the sky around you. Once you're done, export the texture, import it into Unity, create a skybox material, and assign your texture. And just like that, you've built your own custom skybox. Have you ever wondered?
Yeah, and that's it right there too. And they also demonstrate this too. Like if you go to like an Earth space science lab, like if you go the little Earth or the little sky simulation, they'll use a projection or whatever, right? Or they use this lights in like in like a dome simulation, right? Right, to make it appear day or night, and how they do that? Well, they use lights, to make the sky look like it's daytime and make it appear as night. Quite literally proving the scriptures, right? But of course, when you go to science class, they're not going to explain it that way. They're going to say, oh, well, the light comes from the sun and whatnot, which is what they taught us back then. I remember them teaching us this back in like the early 2000s, man, and we know that's not the case right now. Because scripture has been in the simulations that they make now, with these video games and in real life simulations, prove that that there are these light particles or a skybox that determines whether it's day or nighttime, not the lights in the heaven, right? And me explain this, it goes to show you, man, that these people are in fact starting to watch, Great Millstone, man, and are looking a little bit into the scriptures, because it goes to show you, man, that this truth is being brought forth, and that's how we know, we're nearing at the end of Esau's kingdom, right? NASA and them, they're getting exposed, right? Right. So, all right. So there's one precept I want to get out, at least. All right, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? All right, so man, so Esau, man, Satan, he, he's going to use this understanding of the scriptures, and he's going to try to he is going to try to Slock, he's going to try to deceive the elect, man. But we know what the scripture says, man. If it were possible to deceive the very elect, meaning what, he's going to use this Project Blue Beam, he's have these false flags events. But guess what? Even normal people are starting to see through that, man. So, so we pray to Yahweh Bashim Yashar, that he preserves us from all these things that are coming. All right, Matthew 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Right. All right. So of course you would have people calling on the wrong names, or believing in some sort of or believe in some other religions, or just believe in false doctrines completely, man. But the hopeful elect, man, they're gonna see past all that, man. But the main takeaway from this is when when that Karagma, when that micro CHIP, when that brain computer interface comes out, man, the hopeful elect, man, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man, he's gonna come protect us from all that, when Esau sends out his troops, man, and because how's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai gonna do that? All right, Book of Isaiah, chapter 59, verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, shall lift up a standard. Meaning what? His men, Lord willing, that be us, man. They gonna receive them spiritual powers from on high, man. And or he'll send an archangel to protect them, man. From these times, man, because because let me tell you, man, Esau deploying this mass surveillance everywhere, with his AI drones, all these trucks, all these cell towers and everything, and Esau's is gonna have Babylon on lockdown. In fact, he's gonna have the entire world on lockdown, right? That's why we need the Lord, for us to be delivered, man. And so we right there. With that, we're gonna end off the lesson right there. Unless you brothers have any more precepts you want to bring out.
That's it, brother.
All right, So with that, we're gonna end off the lesson right there. Hope this lesson's been edifying, to you Akim and a few Akwath that have been listening. And with that, we like to say, Call Halayim La, Abanawa, Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Ruka Kadash. All right, double honors and respect to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well and taught us his truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the whole flock and the 1/3, and of course you speckled birds, urge you Israelite foreigners scattered across the four corners. All right, this is Brother Selah.
Brock.
And with that, we have to say Shalom.